Welcome to the Brutal Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's episode of the Brutal Game, we will recap Arsenal's 1-0 Arsenal win over Man City at the Emirates to get that 12-match, 3,000 plus days monkey off of their back. That's a good one. Well written, Ferris. Then Scotty saves United as 2 goals in extra time complete the comeback for Man United at home against Brentford. And then we'll run down all the rest of league action from around the Premier League in our 2-minute drill segment. All Premier League action before we whistle for the halftime as the Sterling Sultan of the steak and the first-time Palmer of the Peroni. Gross. Ron shares the gospel of beer and all the news that's fit to drink in this edition of Ron's Beer News. And then finally, we'll close out the pod once again with the La Liga's Roundup. We're getting better at that. But first, our beer. I got a beer this is for Ferris.
Awesome.
Oh, cool, man. But I can't actually have any.
You can't, but it's gonna be one I got to get to. I'm making track of beers I need to get to you and Ron. So I'm still venturing out and trying new stuff. Shout out to Kinsman Brewing today. I don't have anything from there for their brewery today, but I'll have another pod. I went and checked out their brewery. Crazy good pizza. And really, really chill brewery with awesome bartenders. Was a really good experience today. Speaking of you, Ferris, had a great Mexican lager over there.
But yeah, I'm catching up on all the texts you were sending earlier. The place looks awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's really cool. It's like this old factory warehouse from like the 1800s. But yeah. It's like you could do a Charles Dickens movie in there or something. It's like on the outside. Like it's cool. That place was cool. But I wanted to go to, and that place is great. So I'm glad I went, and they're really highly rated. Kinsman Brewing. Apparently they're very important in the history of craft beer in Connecticut. But another place I really want to go, they were not open today. They're open tomorrow. And it is a joint called Five Churches Brewing. Looks really cool. If you look it up, it's just fivechurchesbrewing.com. It says they produce amazing beer all year long. It's this family called I'm saying this right, but the Lemnotis family. They've owned and operated small businesses in New Britain, Connecticut, which is very close to here, since 1949. And, the one day they were looking out the window of their office and said, what should we do with a little extra space in the building next door that we have? And one of them said, well, what about a brewery? They said, okay. And we're like, really? And then they got to work on it, found a brewmaster and started this brewery. And they've got a wood fired oven there for pizza. So I've been told Connecticut pizza is awesome. I had my first today. It was very tasty. So I'm excited to try some more. But Five Churches Brewing, because you know what else is here in the Bristol area of Connecticut that I'm at, and that is of course that's right, ESPN. So Ferris, I saw this, and I went to Total Wine, and I got like 6 beers from 6 Connecticut breweries, different styles, 6 different breweries to try on upcoming episodes of the pod. I saw this beer and snatched it off the shelf so fast because of you. This beer is called, I gotta get this up, Cool Side of the Pillow Pilsner.
Rest in peace, Stuart Scott.
That's brilliant.
Well done.
Yeah. In honor of Stuart Scott. Yeah. And it's got like sort of the skyline there in the background. And then it's got a light blue pillow half, and on the other side, a darker side, a darker blue of the pillow. But it says this one goes out to one of the coolest sportscasters to ever grace the silver screen. We only hope this Pilsner tastes cooler than the other side of the pillow. Booyah.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Oh, that's great.
Stuart Scott, if you don't know, just legendary, host and commentator, and did Sports Center for years. Just one of the best to ever, be associated with sports. And unfortunately passed several years back. But man, he had some taglines, and that was one of his more famous ones. And he would, a home run to go out of the park and booyah. And you knew it was Stuart
But cooler, the other side of the pillow is great, because the first time you heard it, you're like, that's true. That's a good one. I mean, it's not just like, that's not just a good, that's awesome.
Yeah. And you know what I was thinking the other day too, to kind of tie it back to soccer, Who's the announcer that uses such the crazy, like he's slithering through the line like a snake through grass, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Ray. Oh God, Roy Hudson. Ray Hudson. Yeah. You think
Ray Hudson.
Right.
Yeah.
You think back though, a lot of those ESPN early on, Stuart Scott, Dan Patrick, Keith Overman, a lot of them had those taglines that I wonder if I'd be interested to interview Ray and be like, did you ever get any of these from those early sports centers that just everybody watched in the 90s? You'd stay up and you watch them because that was the only way to get sports.
I saw him, get interviewed.
I think Blake's cutting out.
No, I'm there. I'm back. I'm holding on. Okay. I'm not going to let this dodgy internet get me down. I watched Ray Hudson get interviewed and he was asked about that. And he said, like, he talked about how sometimes they come and then sometimes like he has one about a toaster. He's running like a toaster oven in his pants. I can't remember what it's a weird one, but like he threw it out to his wife while she was like, they were cooking and the toaster did something weird. So like he would just like get these little things and like have them try to collect them in his back pocket. So
that's funny.
That's at least where some of them came from.
Well, he's been commentating since, let's see, he's 68 now. So he's been in the game for quite a bit.
For ages, yeah.
And let's see, this is coaching. Commentating. He worked for ESPN's World Cup coverage in 2002.
Yeah, that was, I wonder if he got any like inspiration from some of those just legendary ESPN that everybody watched back in the day, because man, they had some good ones.
You want to know what his first famous quote is?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
He worked for ESPN's World Cup coverage in 2002 and came up with a memorable quote after the U.S. drew 1-1 with South Korea in group play, expounding upon whether U.S. goalkeeper Brad Friedel should be thanking his defenders for their work. He said, and I quote, "I'll be kissing their bums in the showers."
Awesome. Something I did not realize, because I had stuff on Stuart Scott pulled up actually to swing back over to the cooler side of the pillow. I knew that he started WARL TV 5 in Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. That's like the channel that I watched. And he was there in 88 through 90. And jumped into the sports group from there. I didn't realize, because I didn't live there at the time, that he then went to Wesh in Orlando.
Oh, I didn't know that either, because I didn't move to Orlando to 2003.
So from 90 to 93, he worked at Wesh at NBC affiliate as a sports reporter and sports anchor. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. That's pretty cool.
And that's where he met ESPN producer Gus Ramsey. And that was yeah. Wow. I didn't realize that.
I think cool. Ron pulled up some more Ray Hudson quotes to completely derail this pod early on.
Like a Turkish belly dancer on a surfboard, he's tiptoeing through the tulips. I could just picture him
rises up of his grave like Dracula and sinks in the fangs.
Oh, I'm sorry we derailed to a complete
different... This is a gangster goal from them, and it's him that's holding the revolver.
Oh, God. I got to close that.
Oh, this is the one that I love. That was hotter than Jessica Rabbit. Yeah. That was one of my favorite ones from him.
Sorry, we diverged from...
No, he's like, he quotes, he does Star Trek, he does Shakespeare, he like does it all.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of my favorites.
Brilliant.
Do we got beer, Ron?
We do have a beer.
Lovely.
We have an interesting beer. We have a beer.
Let's see what you got.
Was brought to us from New Glarus Brewing Company in New Glarus, Wisconsin. Allegedly, you cannot get this beer.
You cannot. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm seeing the
outside of the great state of Wisconsin.
You cannot. I have heard about this. I myself have not had it the times that I've been to Wisconsin, but I've heard such rumors.
So we have some friends who, good friends of the pod, that are always asking if I've had this beer or that beer because they want to, bring us something unique. They finally found something we haven't had.
Okay.
Gentlemen, we have had a lot of beer.
Yeah.
But this one, Spotted Cow from New Glarus Brewing Company. It is a farmhouse ale, gentlemen.
I bet you it's better than old buck nuts. Sorry.
So that's what I was going to say. Does anyone remember the last farmhouse beer that we've had on the pod? And Ferris.
That's funny. I almost did a farmhouse beer. So that's very funny.
Ferris so eloquently stated that we have had farmhouse ale with Butter Nuts Brewing, who we won't have on it unless it's a bet beer. Which, by the way, I still have one in my refrigerator. It's from 2017, and we need to get rid of it.
No, thank you.
So, New Glarus Brewing Company, a pretty cool brewing company. New Glarus Brewing Company wasted no time establishing itself as a world-class operation in 1992. The owner, Daniel Carey, passed the Diploma of Masters Brewing exam in London. So he went to school in London for his...
Jolly old.
Yep. And thank you. So in 1997, after winning a significant beer competition in England for their Belgian Red, Dan and Deb, the owners, husband and wife duo, decided to clear their minds and unwind from the beer festival. They drove up to the north of London, and while enjoying the English countryside, Deb thought to herself how much a tourist she sounded like, enjoying all the sheep that were everywhere, and thought to herself, I bet when people come to Wisconsin, they must have the same feeling about all the cows. So after returning home, Deb insisted they start right away on the production of Spotted Cow, their signature beer that changed the landscape of craft beer in the Wisconsin area.
I mean, not just the Wisconsin area. Like, if you know, if you're somewhat knowledgeable of beer and beer around the U.S., this is a very famous beer for a lot of different reasons. And on the can it says Wisconsin's original farmhouse ale. And if you've been to Wisconsin and you like beer, definitely they always like, have you tried the Spotted Cow? Have you had, so I'm excited to try this, man. Hell yeah.
Farm cask conditioned ale has been popular choice among brewers since long before Prohibition. We continue this pioneer spirit with our Wisconsin farmhouse ale, brewed in the finest with the finest American malts. We've even given a nod to our farmers. With some naturally cloudy, we allow the yeast to remain in the bottle to enhance the fullness of flavors, which cannot be duplicated otherwise. Expect this ale to be fun, fruity, and satisfying. You'll know you're in Wisconsin when you see the Spotted Cow. 4.8 on the old ABV.
Awesome.
If you're trying it at home, I can't wait to give this a whirl.
Cool, man. Shall we?
That's a good one, man.
Yeah, hard one to get. Oh. A sweet but crisp smell right out of the can.
Ooh, this is carbonated.
Pours like kind of
beautifully.
A pale straw. Lots of carbonation. Good head retention.
Very good head retention.
Ooh, look at that.
Well done.
I bet the lacing in this is going to be quite good. Oh, we screwed up, Ferris.
Did we?
Yep, we should have swirled the last bit. What a rookie.
Well, you just got to swirl a little bit and drop it. Yeah.
I mean, there's not much. Maybe there's enough. Okay, I'll give it a whirl. All right. Gentlemen, shall we?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, you know what that is?
Definitely not butternuts.
That is, this is the cool side of the Pilsner, my friends. Good gosh. This is good.
Heck yeah. This is what a farmhouse ale is supposed to taste like.
Oh, that's good.
If you can imagine like the really traditional Pilsner that's got that grassy funk on it, the European style.
Right.
This has a similar, the slightly sweet, malty, grainy flavor, but none of that funk.
That's quite
this
good.
This is super drinkable. Now, before we get to the soccer, Ron, I got one more Ray Hudson one for you. It was the one I was thinking of.
Yes.
4-0 was talking about Messi. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Nothing less than the equivalent of a football and bird of paradise is that man that defies the description, man. Genius of geniuses. He's like Dr. Spock. He's out of his Vulcan mind. Absolutely out of this world. Lionel, look at the tuck away. Look at the pace. He fills the field in his warp speed, Dr. Spock, in warp speed, magisterial Argentina, magisterial Leo, running like he's got a food mixer down his shorts, and it's set to beat.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Oh, man.
That's just brilliant.
That's
That's the one I saw the interview him talk about. It was the food mixer, not a toaster. That like they did something in his house. He's like, "Well, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use the food mixer. Set it to beat. I'm going to put that somewhere."
Oh man, that's funny.
He's got such good
legend.
Quotes.
Scott's legend too.
When we decide that we've had we need a hiatus from Zlatan quotes, we're going to Ray.
Somebody
Hudson
needs to do
quotes.
a book though, because we actually have a book of Zlatan quotes. Somebody needs a book of Ray Hudson quotes for sure.
Yeah, can you just collect Ray Hudson quotes and sell a book? Does that work? Did Zlatan get money from those quotes? How does that work?
I'll give that guy 30 cents a book. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
It'll be self-published on Amazon.
Well, here we go to the Premier League. On to the football. Here we go. The big match of the weekend. Arsenal finally get their win in the league over Man City. It's only taken 8 years, but on Sunday, Arsenal finally beat the league champs, Man City, in league play, courtesy of a Gabriel Martinelli deflected strike that pierced the back of Ederson's net in the 87th minute of play. Gunners were able to hang on to the 1-0 win, and Man City got their second loss in a row in the league.
That's a rare thing.
Bears' question is, are Arsenal now title favorites? And instead, I think my question would have been like, is this the downward slide of Manchester City?
I mean, what, 3 out of 4 losses, second in the row. It was well played by Arsenal, who didn't come out particularly strong. Hell, Raya almost, completely flopped that and had Alvarez stop the ball with his other foot. That ball's probably in the back of the net early on. There was some contentious calls in this one. We'll get to that here in a sec. But despite all of that, Arsenal at the Emirates, so desperate to get a win over Man City, who they haven't beaten all those times in the stats that we just kind of shared, finally got their win. And I think it's nothing but, well earned. And that Martinelli made I wouldn't say an overly impactful, he wasn't an overly impactful sub for a majority of the time, but took that hit very well. And was still given that goal because it was judged to be going on goal. And speaking of subs, though, it was the 3 subs that came in that each touched the ball to make that. There you go.
That goal happen.
There you go. And the other big thing here, Haaland kept at bay, who's usually been a Goldilocks destroyer of Arsenal in the past year. But like, you look at it like, no expected goals from him, barely any touches. Saliba and Gabriel did a very good job to tie him up. And I don't know if Arsenal are the title favorites. I know their odds have moved up significantly for that. I think went from like plus 600 to plus 400. I don't know if that's better than City. I texted something in the group that said that the reverse fixture of this, whenever that's played sometime in 2024, should be quite interesting, assuming that Saka plays, assuming that Rodri plays, assuming that De Bruyne is back. See both of these teams at full fitness will be a hell of a game with the add-ons of Declan Rice, who had a very good game in this match, and so on. So, well played to Arsenal, and they go into the international break with a big win that they haven't been able to do in 8 years.
And Havertz is the one that played that ball down to get it in the goal as well. So Havertz looked good coming out of this. And then, like you said, Declan Rice, the 100+ million was like this for this game
alone, just this game alone.
I mean, he did exactly what needed to be done. And there's another world where Man City signed Declan Rice and not Orlando,
It was close.
not Arsenal. I mean, what I like about this win is this is the kind of win that Man City gets when they start a little cool, but then still manage to pull it off, right? Like you've seen them do that several times. You're like, boy, they're going to draw this match, and then nope, they make it happen. And it was the reverse of seeing Arsenal do that, which was comforting. And it was good to see some of the I was really glad Havertz had that play through to make this happen. I don't know what's going to become of that kid. I don't know how integral he'll really become, but as a human, I'm just starting to feel bad for him. So anything that's positive, that's good. You go do your thing, man.
I think I sarcastically wrote on our group chat that when Havertz came on, I said something like Havertz for the win, Havertz with the winner. And then 2 minutes later, he ended up getting the assist on the deflection goal, which I thought was pretty entertaining because in that chat group, I have a very good way of ragging on a player and then they go score a goal or have an assist or.
We said it here. Kovacic for Man City probably should have been sent off in this. You know,
agreed.
How is that second one not a yellow? I don't understand.
The first one is contentious. However, if that boot is a little bit higher up and more ankle to calf and it's hit, that's probably a red. But because it was studs to a foot, you see that a few times a game. I think it was instantly called on the field, a yellow, went to VAR and upheld. I think that was ultimately the right call. But then Kovacic, not smart, goes in on Declan Rice, misses the ball completely and gets studs to the foot of Rice. Just a foul, no card. My only thought to this is,
I thought it was worse than the first one. Really?
I think it was dumber than the first one because you're on a card,
right?
And then you go in like that. And my my two thoughts of it is he should have been sent off and seen a second yellow for that.
Agreed.
My other thought of that is a lot of times you don't see refs do this, right? Think back to the Trent Alexander game against, was it Newcastle? Where he had that foul and then a couple of minutes later on the sideline had a similar foul and they're all calling for him to be sent off. Because it was in such quick succession of that first card, refs in a big game like this are always going to be hesitant to make, or it feels like refs are always going to be hesitant to make that second yellow send-off card that early in the game and with that fast happening. I'm not saying that's right. Yeah. I'm not saying that's how it should be, but we've seen that before. Refs are a little hesitant.
The weird thing is, there's been 4 players sent off on second yellows for arguing with the ref, which I think
time wasting. We got one of those yet?
I can't recall of a second yellow time waster that sent somebody off.
Not yet. I'm sure there will be this.
We've had second yellow after the first one being for time wasting.
Correct. Sure.
Yes, we have had that. Yeah.
But I think that's kind of a more cheap, subjective way to send a player off than a studs up challenge that completely misses the ball. And who cares that it was 2 minutes apart?
Yeah, no, I
don't. That makes no sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's the logic of it. And it's
look, if you're dumb enough to commit 2 fouls like that, a minute apart or whatever it was, then you deserve to be sent off.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Don't disagree with y'all. And it didn't ultimately affect the outcome of the game, which is good in that sense.
Right. No, they let the game play, but it did feel wrong.
Yeah, they certainly let the game play. I think you're going to start seeing Pep get really ornery. Is that right? Was that, yeah? Ornery with the refs with the treatment of Haaland. I feel like a lot of times in this, Saliba and Gabriel would go over the back of Haaland to win balls coming from a goal kick. And it wasn't called a lot, but you saw Pep starting to get very animated on the sidelines. So something just keep an eye on as they move. I think it's ironic, maybe, or slightly humorous that Arsenal finally beat Man City, who have won the league, thinking, "Oh, we'll go top of the table," only for the only team to be top of the table ahead of them, Tottenham.
Yep. I mean, they're tied on points, though, right?
Yeah, but
you
think you beat the league champs, that you'll go top.
Goal differential is the only thing keeping them. Tottenham's 18 goals versus, they both have 10 goal differential, but Tottenham has 18-4, Arsenal has 16-4. So.
Yeah, it's goals for, not even differential. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're tied on both,
How are you feeling, though, Blake, just before we end this?
It's not as exciting as last year's start because that was so unexpected. So there was an excitement about it, right? We weren't talking about title push until, halfway through the season. It was just exciting, to see it. This feels steadier, which is scary because it's at some point Arsenal fans are going to have to go, hey, you know what? I think we're just good now. Especially when you make a win happen by your substitutes, because that's what was lacking last year. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So while not playing quite as exciting, they made substitutes. He stuck to his plan and they won the game. And it's a very different feeling. Shifting from, man, I hope we win this. I'm not saying this about Man City necessarily, but any match now, at what point did the Arsenal switch from, man, I hope we win this, to the feeling well, we should win this, and it's like a weird spot that we haven't been in a while. That all being said, I'm deathly afraid to play Chelsea next because that's a game that we should easily win at this point, which means trouble on the horizon.
You're probably going to win it.
Blake, the master of segues, though.
Come on, wouldn't it be the dumbest thing for Mudryk to get a brace and win that match?
Patrick easy.
That's a
Patrick.
It'll be Sterling. Mudryk's still having problems.
Yes. Well, I guess. Did you say that segued us?
Master of segues with the substitution that won the game.
Yeah, speaking of that, get your bleep sheet ready, Ron. Ron Ferris has a new name. Scotty McTominay saves the day for Manchester United with a 2-1 win over Brentford. It took Man United 93 minutes. I can't believe you guys won to get both their first of the match, and then be followed up only 4 minutes later with the game winner in the 97th, both coming from super subs Scott McTominay, which Scott McTominay, by the way, definitely sounds like a WWE wrestler name to me.
Absolutely.
He only entered the match in the 87th minute of play. That is a pretty late substitution for such a big impact.
And he only had 5 touches, 6 touches.
That's
2 of them were goals.
Pretty much it.
He was cooler than the other side of the pillow.
He was. But
Twice.
You got to read the statement.
And then Ferris is not a question that he followed it up with, but a statement. Man United are winning the
league. Not a chance in hell.
Hey, you are comfortably in 10th.
Comfortably, absolutely.
You play the Blades. You play the Blades next. You'll probably be lose. Crystal Palace probably going to lose to Newcastle. You'll scoot up to 9th. Don't worry.
Okay, man, I'll take it.
You'll scoot up to 9th.
Man United for 92 minutes of this game looked just dreadful. The goal that was scored against them in the 27th minute or something like that was just play the Benny Hill music on that, right? Where Maguire passed the ball to Casemiro. Casemiro really didn't want it. Casemiro turned the ball over, and then all of a sudden Lindelof clears it off of somebody by the right to them, and then messes it up. It was absolutely a comedy of errors from the United. It was a full team effort to get scored on there. They literally tried to get scored on there and succeeded. Which is not how the game's supposed to work. You're supposed to keep the ball out of your own net.
The funny thing about that is that I wasn't really watching it, and I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Well, they have an interesting back four, which looks like a giant
surplus to injuries.
Yeah, a giant sieve of hemorrhaging goals." And I said, "I bet you that Harry Maguire scores an own goal in this." We switch over just as Harry Maguire tries to clear the ball in that goal.
And then Lindelof kicks it back at him. No, I don't want to clear it. You clear it. And then the ball bounces perfectly to whichever Brentford player. And then it wasn't really that great of a shot.
No, he puts it in the net. But the funny thing is it goes right to Maguire, who then can't really clear it. And I just thought, what black cloud follows that guy around in this competition?
I will say,
hold on. But then I had to give him some props because he had the assist
on the game winner.
McTominay's second goal.
Yeah, on the game winner. In all honesty, the Johnny Evans Maguire back two, you're going, oh my God, God help us all. Did pretty well though. It was Lindelof playing that auxiliary left back, which the man's not a left back at all, but every one of our left backs is injured. So you're playing three center backs and then Dalot, who...
Your favorite.
Yeah. Did not play terrible in the second half, I will say. He was definitely more... Because the ball was mainly... We were trying to attack. He was on that side of the ball. So it's fine on that side of the ball. I don't want him anywhere near the defensive side of the ball. But Maguire had a very solid game. I
except for the goal.
Yeah, but I don't really... He was less of the comedy errors as much, but... Regardless, I think I do give Maguire credit for continually getting out there and continually trying to do it because he's just been a battering ram for everything bad that's happened over the past.
Why does he play
years.
For the England squad so much better than his club squad?
It's that weight of playing for United, and look at what it's doing to Nana. The man almost single-handedly won the Champions League last season with his performance and got that move because of what he was doing at Ajax, and he can't save a ball to save his life right now.
He doesn't even know where the goalposts are.
Yeah, it's incredible. But I give United credit because it would be very easy to just go, okay, now we're going to have a 7th loss in 10 matches or whatever it is, and we'll just kind of see this game out and move on to international break and whatever. But some good subs there, and Scott McTominay coming in, in the 87th, as Ron said, 5 touches of the ball and makes an instant impact, and then doubles down on it and wins the game. And McTominay, who doesn't get a great deal of time, was part of that Fred McTominay midfield, but a United boy through and through. Said it was his most favorite night ever. It just, that's the passion that United need to go forward. Will this be the catalyst to propel the season? I don't know. But it's certainly a good way to go into the break, and hopefully that passion just bleeds through the rest of the players that might have the passion, but certainly don't look like they do all the time, on the field. But I will say it was nice because was it a few minutes earlier, not like the 91st minute. Was it IUR? Yeah, Christoph IUR made like a clearance or a stoppage and like went Hulk mode, like, yeah, like just absolutely like NBC showed it. He just got so pumped that they're going to win the game. We're going to see this game out, and then boom, boom, game over.
So funny.
It was not the best game, but a good win. I'll take the 3 points, and we're going for Europa Conference League. Let's go.
I was just, oh my God, you stole my dig. I was absolutely going to say that.
So
well played.
So real quick before we move on, Ferris.
Yes.
I have one bet beer left in my refrigerator.
No.
So here's the bet.
Which beer is it? Is it Butternut or the Cookie Puss?
No, it's a Snapperhead. So
Snapperhead Butternut.
From 2017.
Yeah.
I will bet you that beer that Chelsea finishes above Manchester United in the league.
Oh, throwback to when I said that to you about Arsenal. That's the last go round. Oh,
We're both on the skids.
oh, that's a good one.
We're both having trouble. We're both
10th and 11th at the table right now.
We're both on
Ferris,
a bit.
you have to say yes.
We're both
No, I do not have to say yes.
on the upswing.
No. And I'm not going to say yes. I'll tell you that right
Ferris,
now.
you got to say yes.
The answer is going to be no.
But no, you got to say yes because
Why?
we have never been able to get Ron to agree to even entertain the idea.
Yeah, I know, but I stand to lose once again. United may not be in Champions League a whole lot longer, but Chelsea have no Europe. It doesn't add up for United. Do I think it's going to happen? I think United will finish above them. Am I willing to sacrifice my taste buds, my liver, my dignity to do yet another bet beer that I lose and butter nuts?
Yes, you should.
No.
Don't be a coward.
The elusive unicorn of me making a bet is vanishing before your eyes.
Because I'm not going to get sucked into this. No.
I think it's a pretty fair bet.
I think
all things considered.
But no,
it's not. Why is it not a fair?
No. I think it's a fair bet, but I'm not going to do it for the reasonings that I just said.
Okay. Sad.
Great try.
I can't believe you turned that down. Oh, wow. All right. Well, Ferris kind of taking the wind out of the sails, took all the energy out of the pod. Way to go, man. You could have saved the day.
Just saved my taste buds.
All right. Well, now we're going to recap the results of week 8 as we move on to our 2-minute drill where we got a nice little horn that will wrap us up. But, we might give Ron 3 minutes, right? Because that's 2 wins in a row when we get to Ron. We'll see. First up, we got Tottenham. They get the job done at Kenilworth Road as the Spurs win 1-0 over Luton Town. Almost didn't. Is Son the nicest human in football? Yeah.
Did you guys see his, what was it, post-match with I don't know who it was, but he was done with the interview and most politely put the probably very expensive pretty expensive microphone on the table as if it was like a delicate egg that was going to the museum the next day. It was so polite and so nice that it was just, okay, goodbye. Just sat it down beautifully.
I mean, he's got to be the nicest player without question, right? I think the Japanese are probably the nicest fans after they do all the stadium cleanup, but he is by far probably the nicest individual. I've never seen him. Have you guys ever seen him mad?
No, there was that one time against Everton when he had a really bad tackle against somebody Gomez. I don't remember what the first name was. That he got sent off for, and it was a leg breaker. It was a bad challenge. You could tell he felt terrible, and that wasn't the intent, and yada. But that's about it.
So I think the answer to that question is a resounding yes from all parties.
That was probably the most exciting part of this game. But gentlemen, guess what the total attendance in Kenilworth Road was on Saturday, early morning for us here on the East Coast, but early afternoon over in England.
Guess what the what was?
The attendance.
Does that include people in their houses?
I don't know. I don't believe it does.
17,000? I forgot how big that stadium is.
Try 10,290.
Oh, right.
Yes. Chelsea get their second win on the bounce behind a spirited Raheem Sterling, the bright star of Chelsea at the moment. His performance just was awesome as they beat the JJ Watts Burnley 4-1. Gentlemen, the question is, are the Blues finally turning a corner?
Yes, which is why I'm not doing a bet beer with Ron.
You don't believe that. I don't think you believe that. I'm not saying I think they aren't. I'm saying I don't. I'm going to put my scientist hat on and say there's not enough evidence yet. Give me two more games. Okay. But right now, inconsistency has been the problem. So 2 matches do not a pattern make yet. I just need a couple more.
Well, technically it's 3 in all competitions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brighton in the cup. Fulham. Thank you, Siri. Fulham and then Burnley, but both away from home. So away wins. The test is going to be at home to Arsenal, comebacking on that October 21st Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. We kind of see if Chelsea win that, absolutely, I think they're turning the corner. But if not,
I mean, we've got a tough set of in our next 6 matches.
Oh yeah, you do.
Arsenal, Brentford in the league, EFL Cup, Blackburn Rovers, which could be touch and go. Then we go Tottenham, Man City, Newcastle. Those are our next 6 fixtures.
So you play...
Brighton is later.
Yeah, but you play the first team, the second team, the third team, the 6th team, all in that, and what there are currently ranked right now. Jeez.
All teams above us. If we nick half the points, I'd be happy. But look, we are still in quite the rebuild. I don't think we're quite back to winning ways. I think we've managed to build some confidence and push things along. But we still have a lot of lessons to learn, a lot of people coming back from injuries. And I think that is going to be the hardest part is that when we're gelling now, but we're all gelling with most of the first team out on injury. So as those players come back, they're going to have to fit back into the first team, and that's going to throw a lot of things off. So
I'm going to blow a whistle for a little extra time. You said Mudryk's still having problems. I kind of thought maybe he was coming around, but you said like you think he still got issues?
Well, I mean, he looks bright running at defenses. Past that, he is probably one of our largest proponents of pass when you should shoot and shoot when you should pass. Right? Mm-hmm. So he's having, I don't know, his decision making is not quite there in my opinion yet. So
okay,
he's got some time to figure some stuff out. But again,
oh yeah, he does. He's on like a 9-year deal.
Yeah.
He has plenty of time to figure
That's why
it out.
I'm not worried if we win, if we stay 10th in the table. Because if you amortize that, divide that by 8, right? You end up.
What's that video you sent us?
Right?
You got to understand, it's amazing math. You can do this over 9 years. The points we've had to this point, we're winning the league.
Yep.
That's so good.
Everton bounced back from that loss to Luton last week with a 3-0 win over Bournemouth. Gentlemen, which team has better chances of staying up?
I think Bournemouth still.
You think?
Are they in a? Yes, they are in a funk, and you're not wrong about that. I just don't have faith in Everton maintaining this. But they're going to play Liverpool next.
Here's the thing. I will go I won't go slightly. I'll go against that, and I will say that Everton will stay up because of the Sean Dyche effect. Bournemouth, minus 13. Everton in 16th. Bournemouth in 19th, by the way. Everton in 16th. Only a minus 3 so far. For what they've had so far this year, to only have a minus 3 is not the worst. I mean, the Wolves are minus 5 above them. Fulham, minus 5 above them. Man United in 10th, minus 3. Like, that's the Sean Dyche effect with the defense being played. You get Jack Harrison, who scored a lovely goal in this. You keep him fit. I think they have enough to stay above a Burnley, a Sheffield United, a Luton, because there might be 3 worse teams yet again than Everton.
I think you hit the phrase of if they stay healthy. I think if they do not stay healthy in a couple of key positions, they're going to find themselves right in the relegation zone in pretty quick order. If they can manage to stay healthy, I think they're in the late teens in the table currently. And
then if it's much like Ron picking Southampton every year until last year, and then they actually do get relegated.
Yeah.
Jerks.
If they have a third season in a row where they skate just outside of relegation again, do you keep Sean Dyche? Does he get you out of that? If that's all he could, I don't know. That's a mess. Mm-hmm. That's a mess.
Which apparently Sean Dyche loves him some EDM.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you listen to an interview, he loves him some like DJ EDM. He is notoriously known for saying that in various.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Press conferences.
He's in the clubs and
trying to picture.
Love it.
Yes, I'm trying to picture him like digging a club and dancing.
But the funny thing is, he goes into the club in the suit and tie, and then takes off the jacket and is ready for the mosh.
Tie gets a little ooze, yeah.
But he leaves it on.
But then when he leaves the club, the tie's like around his big head. And
absolutely. Okay, Fulham. Speaking of we're going to stay in the bottom of the table for a second. Fulham pull it out against Sheffield with a 3-1 win at the Cottage. Get well soon, Chris Bosham.
Brutal.
Yeah. Destroyed his ankle.
Brutal.
Yeah. Have they said how long or what that
it was season for sure? But no, I haven't seen any updates. But Chris Basham's been with them for many, many years. He's gone up and down with them in the Premier League the last few times. So just a shame. On the Fulham side of things, Fulham at home at the Cottage did what they needed to do in this. A goal by Reed in the 53rd minute, and then an own goal by Andy Robertson in the 68th, and he just looked like defeated as hell when he scored a goal on his own net. But then another own goal on the other side of things in the 76th, and then Willian in the 92nd minute. Fulham just got the job done. Needed to do what they, needed to do at home, especially against the team last in the entire table, and got a win.
I always like watching Willian score, especially when he was in a Chelsea jersey.
Well, Sheffield's got a chance to move out of the bottom by playing Man United next.
100%. 100%.
Crystal Palace 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Looks like Robin Hood stole all the fun out of this one. Moving on. I don't think there's anything else to say. That was the most boring match.
Why an axe? Why not an axe? Because it's dull, you twit, just like this match is.
It'll hurt more. Which this match definitely hurt. I think I fell asleep a bit.
Jesus.
It was
Crystal Palace, man. I'll say for the horn blows. I feel like they got no business being as mediocre as they are. I feel like they should be better on paper.
And they kind of have for a majority of the season. I mean, but they haven't. So whatever.
I mean, they're sitting at ninth, but I feel like they're sitting at ninth on like the weight of their schedule.
They're sitting in ninth with 0 goal, difference. So they're not really good. They're not really bad. They're just right there in the center. 2
draws, 2 wins, and a loss in their last 5. So they're making it happen. But look, all they have to do is stay mid-table, and it's a success, right?
Absolutely.
They're not being relegated. It's a successful
season.
And
Selhurst Park, awesome place to watch a match. Liverpool get dunked on in the 78th minute as the Reds can't hang on to lead, as Brighton and Liverpool split the points with 2 goals apiece. A Lewis Dunk goal in like the 78th, as I said, was the game tire in that. Some interesting things come out of this from various pundits, one of which Andy Brassel on the Footballer Ramble podcast. But, really is can Brighton hang on to what they've been doing in the league? It's the first time that Brighton are playing in Europe. You've seen them. They lost 6-1 to Villa the week before. Yes, it's a good fight and a good kind of comeback against Liverpool here. But can Brighton hang on to this form all season? That even with the hell of a good start that they've had to the season, they're in 6th. Think they can stay anywhere in the top 6 for the whole season?
I think with like Newcastle below them, that could bop them out of the top 6 easily. I do think we're kind of probably seeing the end of the amazing Brighton run. I think they're just being this isn't knocking them. It's just being stretched. Mm-hmm. They're just being stretched, they're still brilliant. They still have an amazing team. And I'll tell you what, if they can scrap and fight to end between 6 and 7, maybe still getting that Europa championship, whatever, that would be a huge success that they could build upon to fill out their ranks next year. I mean, I think they'd be fantastic. I think it's going to be a hard fight for them to stay in those spots. Now, I say that, but there are clubs under them that keep like Newcastle that should be killing it, but they keep dropping the ball here and there. So, when Brighton loses. Does that make sense? It doesn't seem like they've screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you think about it, their schedule for the next 8 or so games, in the league, Man City, Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Brentford, Burnley are their next 8 matches in the league. Most of those are easily winnable for those folks. So I think if they come out of this 8 stretch with the majority of the points, I think they're going to be okay. Especially if you go into Christmas on the high, the festive fixtures on the high.
Yeah, and one other thing that Andy Brassel said in that podcast is the other thing that's going to happen is Brighton aren't going to be able to quite get the deals that they used to get. Right? He gave an example of a player that came in from France recently, and they offered $18 million to the club and ended up paying 30-some mil, because now clubs around the world are going to know, well, they're not going to get us on a cheap to then turn around and sell them for $100 mil on cheap. So I thought that was a very interesting point that, that you're going to still see good players, but that might start to dwindle out a bit as these teams go, oh, Brighton, you're the one that just sold Moses Caicedo for $100 mil and this person for $100 mil. So we're gonna top on another 10 mil, another 20 mil. Get a taste of what the bigger clubs like Man City's, Arsenal's, Chelsea's, Man United's kind of go through, where that value goes up for teams that have that. So just an interesting point there.
Nope, it's a very good point. Back-to-back draws on Sunday as Newcastle can't hang on to the lead against West Ham as Mohamed Kudus gets his first for the Hammers in the 89th to make it a 2-2 draw. Did you know that West Ham is 1 point above Newcastle in the table?
Yes.
Sure are, 7th and 8th.
They work hard. So do washing machines.
But they're having a better season than I expected them to have, to be
They are.
honest.
Yeah. And the point of that is, we've heard a lot about Newcastle this season, right? Coming out of the gate with a 5-1, beating PSG at home and all these things. You expect them to be good. They had top 4 last year, back in champ. You really haven't heard that much about West Ham, but they're just quietly doing a job and they're just quietly there. And can they hold on to it? I don't know. They're playing in Europa League, not Europa Conference League. So their squad might be a little bit thin, but who knows here to get his first for the club from Ajax is a bright spot along with James Ward-Prowse, who's been very good this season.
The best signing they've had.
So just keep an eye on them because they will be in and around there, my guess, all season and could sneak back into another European spot.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
And they play Villa next, which I feel like that's
interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
That's an interesting match. Yeah.
Back to back draws as 2 goals in 2 minutes was all she wrote for Wolves and Villa on that match as they drew what? Oh yeah. Okay. As they drew 1-1. Sorry, I confused myself. How are we feeling with this Wolves team is the real question. I think we're feeling that they're woefully inconsistent. Sometimes they come out and they look like a good pressing and attacking team. As Pep, what did Pep say? The
Korean guy.
The Korean guy, yeah.
Who scored again in this one.
Right.
Yeah.
I do believe.
Yeah, Pep didn't know the player's name and he said, the Korean guy. And then the Korean guy scored on Man City. But he scores again in this one. He seems to be the bright spot.
Hee Chung-wing.
The team seems to just play enough, but none of it's spectacular. The midfield is not really doing anything to protect the back line, and the back line looks like, especially your center back pairings, seem to be confused over how to cover a run in behind. So I don't have a ton of hope for Wolves. I think they'll stay up, but I think they're going to be, in the late teens on the old table there.
There are definitely worse teams. You ask that because, a draw, a win, and a draw in their last 3. That was followed by 2 losses. One of those with the win being a surprising against Man City, as we talked about last week. They're an interesting team. I don't know if they're a good team.
I don't think they're that interesting. What do they do particularly well that is interesting? I think they're the bland English wallpaper.
They have the longest name in the Premier League.
Which is not interesting play. I think they're just bland, and they just sometimes do enough to nick a win.
All they need to do is beat Man City again. That's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes.
Here you go. Here's my prediction. They will get pillaged and sell the good players that are actually doing anything to try and make some money, and then they will get relegated next year.
There you go.
Happen. And now that brings us to halftime, where it's time for the purveyor of the pork loin, Mr. Ron Keller, for Ron's Beer News.
Wait, what was the thing that I had wrote?
It was
the first time Palmer of the Peroni.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm assuming the Palmer thing is for the Chelsea player, but
the Sterling Sultan of the Steak.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, thank
but
you.
The Palmer of the Peroni,
yeah,
sounds like I'm a serial masturbator.
You're welcome.
Well, I mean, Peroni is also an Italian beer, so you're welcome.
There's no winning in that statement. Gentlemen.
Ron, grab your Peroni and give us some news.
Moving on. Gentlemen.
I was going to say something really bad. I'm not.
Yeah, don't make me bleep it out.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm commandeering this here beer news to celebrate the retirement of one of the Premier League's best players.
News today.
Today, Eden Hazard retires from professional football.
At 32 years old.
And you know what's awesome? He didn't do it in MLS.
That's
He
an
did.
astute point.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Gentlemen, let's just talk about Mr. Eden Hazard's career real quick. He was a footballer of the year for England, 3-time player of the year in France and in and the UK. He won the Champions League. He won the FIFA Club World Cup.
He won the Champions League with Madrid, which I don't even know if he
I know.
even
I'm talking about his career.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
You relax.
He just barely played for Madrid.
Who
Go ahead.
cares? He still won it.
Yeah, he did.
Jesus. The guy's retiring.
and Kai Havertz
Don't
won
be a
the
dick.
Champions League.
Right.
Yeah, but he at
Eden
least scored a
Hazard
goal in
won
the damn
Champions
thing.
League.
Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
He won the EPL twice with Chelsea. He won the Spanish. It's not the Scudetto. That's Italian. What is the
Spanish champs? I don't know.
Yeah, he twice with Real Madrid. He's a French champion because, gentlemen, he played for Lille for quite a short amount of time. He's a UEFA Super Cup winner. He's a Europa League winner twice, an English FA Cup winner, a Spanish Cup winner, a French Cup winner, an English League Cup winner, and a Spanish Super Cup winner.
And he has not quoted, but Philip Luis, who used to be a player with him at Chelsea, once told Two Angry Men, Eden Hazard was playing Mario Kart in the room, and the fitness coach said, 10 minutes and we're going out to warm up. He hadn't changed, but everyone else was ready to go. 5 minutes later, he was still playing, and the coach said, Eden, come on, man. Eden responded, don't worry, just give me the ball, and there won't be a problem. Strong Zlatan vibes for Eden.
Channels his inner.
That is some strong.
Yeah. He has 352 appearances for Chelsea, 194 appearances for Lille, 76 for Real Madrid, and 1 for the Chelsea under-21s. He ends up scoring 167 goals in his club career. He is repeatedly the most fouled player in the English Premier League. So many times he was fouled. Internationally, he had 126 caps for Belgium. Just an incredible player. If you go onto Instagram and go to the Chelsea FC Instagram, you will see 10 videos of world-class goals and dribbles that Eden Hazard had. So I'm going to take this beer news to pay tribute and pour one out for Eden Hazard, my favorite Chelsea player of all time.
Do not pour out this beer. It's damn good.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah, excellent.
What a fantastic, watching him at times just absolutely run games was a lot of fun. And it is kind of a shame because at 32, he retires. He should have been more. That quote, while, in jest, kind of showed the work behind the scenes, and you hear a lot of those things and you read a lot of those things about how he went about it, where it almost seemed like minimal effort was put in, and he was that good. Imagine if he put in maximum effort, or he put in a quarter more of that effort, how much better he would have been.
Yeah.
Because he went to Madrid on high hopes, did absolutely nothing there for the most part.
Really, lots of injuries. Has horrible ankles now because he was fouled so often in the Premier League. So the poor guy's going to be like hobbling around with a walker in his early 40s because his ankles are so shot.
Hey, there'll be a couple of new switches out by then, so he'll be fine.
But congratulations, bud. What an amazing career you've had, both on your club and your international level, with 126 caps and 33 goals for the international team. I'm happy he's a ex-Chelsea player.
There you go.
Gentlemen?
I was happy when he was an ex-Chelsea player. It was great.
Fair.
Yeah, when he wasn't
I think the league was, yeah.
shredding through the Arsenal midfield and back line. We are back.
Boom. That gets us to, you know what? It's time for the La Liga's roundup.
Guys, did you freaking see the sexy? God, I wish I had his hair and beard. Olivier Giroud playing in goal this past weekend in the Serie A.
You can't have his hair, but you can have his goalkeeper kit.
Oh, yes, you can.
They're selling his goalkeeper kit.
And I really hope
Amazing.
that EAFC has a team of the week goalkeeper card for him this week. Because, all right, so it was a 1-0 win, a Pulisic goal, again, by the way, in the 87th, the game winner from Yunus Musa, another U.S. player. But anyways, 1-0 win over Genoa. In the 99th minute, so 90 plus 9, Mike Anjanan gets sent off as keeper. I don't know where the subs were at, where all of that was at, but Olivier Giroud hops into goal and
looking like a proper keeper too.
He just looks fucking fantastic in anything he wears. So you can blast him on the sideline with a flag, and he'll still be the sexiest damn player out there, or person out there. But anyways, that doesn't like make a save, like, diving save, but does come out for a ball when a ball is laid over the top, and handled it very, very well. And that basically sealed the win, which it went to like 90 plus 14 or 15, somewhere like that. But man, just for an outfield player to do that, to secure the win, what else can that man do? Or what can't that man do?
So great. It was so fun watching him play.
So what happened that necessitated him to come in?
Excuse me. I know that the keeper got sent off. I believe, if I'm mistaken, they were out of subs. Because Giroud came in the 66th. So he didn't even start. There were 4 subs. Yeah, they were out of subs. So they had just subbed somebody on in the 93rd. So they had no more subs. And having I don't believe having a keeper sent off allows you to get a 6th sub. So because Giroud was subbed on in the 66, must have said, hey, give me the shirt, and tosses on. And I believe it was a green Mangione kit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have, obviously one prepared for him, and hopped in. Yes, Ron.
So the AC Milan keeper, Mike Maignan, got sent off for kneeing Caleb Yukaban during a challenge in the 97th minute. So that's why the keeper gets sent off. Yeah. Dangerous play.
Nonetheless, you know what also that did? That kept AC Milan top of the table, baby. First in Serie A table on 21 points. Inter in second, Juventus in third, Fiorentina in fourth, Napoli in fifth, Atalanta in sixth. And I do think, if I'm not mistaken, the next game after the international break on October 22nd, first place AC Milan play third place Juventus.
Ooh, good one.
So that should be a good one. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but this English lad by the name of Jude Bellingham has been on an absolute tear. Absolute freaking tear for Real Madrid. Going to the quite possibly the biggest club in the world. He has been a goal-scoring machine for them, as he already has 8 goals on the year. Scored another one against Osasuna on the weekend. Excuse me, scored 2 against Osasuna on the weekend. You know, for a big money move to go to the biggest club in the world, you know, arguably, and to have this scoring record, not as a striker, not as a winger, as a center midfielder, for the money that he went on, absolutely just outstanding. And as I said, it keeps them at the top of the table. Girona in second, having a very good season. Barcelona 3 points behind Real Madrid in third. Atletico Madrid in fourth on 19 points. But man, if you have not watched him play in the Champions League or anything else, watch Jude play.
It's fun to watch him play. Future
And
Ballon
from
d'Or.
Birmingham City as part of the youth team
Mm-hmm.
to Borussia Dortmund to Real Madrid. That's a crazy
His
career.
brother's playing, I think, at Sunderland right now, and he's having a pretty darn good season as well. So, a lot of fun. I'm going to do a little bit of a twist here. I'm going to toss it over to my good friend, my Eden Hazard loving Palmer of the Peroni, Ron, to give us a little bit of a World Cup news update here. With some news that just kind of came out in the past few days.
Gents, FIFA does it again. The 2030 Men's Soccer World Cup is set to feature games in 6 different countries in 3 different continents in a unique format that will allow the tournament to celebrate its 100th anniversary in Uruguay.
Is it going to be played in December again?
They haven't released a schedule.
Oh, dang.
Remember the first tournament was played in Uruguay, July 1930, the 13th through the 30th of July, with only 13 teams. Uruguay were the champions. Argentina was the runner-up. USA, third place.
I'll be darned.
Yugoslavia in fourth. The United States in that tournament, scoring the world's first World Cup hat trick.
Who scored it?
I forget the guy's name.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I didn't pay attention to that part.
Bob Cousy scored the hat trick for the first time in the United States history in 1930.
So last Wednesday, FIFA formally accepted a joint bid from Morocco, Portugal, and Spain to officially host the tournament, while agreeing to stage 3 games in Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, who had previously promoted a competing / co-hosting bid.
Question. Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay aren't in Europe, right?
That's correct.
They're not in Africa either, right?
That's correct. Hence the 3 continents.
They're in South America.
Yeah.
There's a big ocean in between them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
it's
wanna
going
make
to be totally screwed.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a second. The men's competition in 2030
Yeah.
will be hosted across, like I said, 6 countries, 3 different continents as part of the plans to commemorate the World Cup's 100th anniversary, which is a huge milestone. So play it all in South America, you morons. Anyway, those 3 countries will each host. Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay will each host 1 match to start the tournament, which allows FIFA to stage the opening game in the Uruguayan capital of Montevideo, where the Centenario Stadium, which hosted the first ever match of the World Cup.
So why not just do the World Cup in South America?
Yep.
For that 100th year.
Yep.
Blake, come on now. Common sense is not coming into this argument.
Do you know what's bad? When you agree with Sepp Blatter, something is wrong.
Yeah, that's true. That's very fair. All 6 host nations will get automatic entry to the 48-team tournament. FIFA said it is the first time the World Cup will be played on more than 1 continent. What a gigantic
and the
horse
and the world
money
didn't
grab.
go. And nobody went, well, that's so cool. They all went, like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, why mess up the integrity of the matches? If any of those first clubs, because if you look at the schedule, there's some crazy setup for that. Like, where,
well, if you follow
clubs
previous formats scheduled, because they haven't technically dropped the actual schedule, right? But it's still screwed because three of those teams are going to travel from somewhere to play in South America. So they're going to be jet lagged there. Then they're going to go back to the regular tournament, which is another giant flight somewhere else, and be jet lagged there. So did
they just like set up year and then go, oops, that was our 100-year crap. We should have done it in South America. We'll do this. It's like they forgot the Centenario was happening.
No, I think it's all it's a giant money grab. FIFA does nothing. Look, FIFA is the most profitable non-profit company in the entire planet. There is a reason they got that way. It's a giant money grab. Everything they've done has been a money grab, which then brings me to the World Cup 2034. The consensus reached by the continental soccer bodies also allowed FIFA to open bidding for the 2034 World Cup with only member federations from Asia and Oceania eligible to bid for hosting rights. So let me say that part again. Only Asia and Oceania eligible for hosting rights. Saudi Arabia immediately entered the contest, and Australia is also interested in co-hosting, especially after the success of the Women's World Cup between Australia and New Zealand.
Right.
Either way, the 2034 tournament will almost certainly be played in November and December, like this year's World Cup in Qatar. Want to know why? Because Saudi Arabia is going to win the bid. There's no way that only Australia is going to be able to snake the bid, even if they do go in with New Zealand. So what are tiny little countries like Tahiti going to stage a massive tournament? No way. This is all designs pointed to Saudi Arabia. If you're not paying attention, there's a giant neon sign going off that just flashes Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia. So I can't imagine it would go anywhere else. With the money that is flowing from Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who has been spotted all over the world hanging out with Infantino. You really think it's going to go to Australia, New Zealand, who are probably the next biggest country?
That's where my money would be.
No, it's going to Saudi Arabia. So,
because that's where the money is.
Exactly. That was the whole point. Yeah, that's
corruption continues. The whole thing's rigged. And there is your World Cup news.
Talk about rigged. Gentlemen, do you know who was nominated for MVP of the MLS with only playing 240 some minutes, 2 goals, and 1 assist?
Yep.
Lionel Messi.
And he might not play any more games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Considering the season is almost over in 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, they've already been knocked out of it, by the way. And he's literally played like 4 or 5 games, if that, and has 2 goals, and he's nominated for MVP.
And new player of the year, newcomer of the year.
Okay, fine. You want to give it to him? Fine.
That's BS.
I don't disagree.
What new part
but MVP,
is he from?
All of his glories and all of the Instagram things that have been shared and Inter Miami winning was in this made-up Leagues Cup that just started this year. Yeah. It has nothing to do with MLS play.
But don't you think so if MLS and whatever, they're all thinking this was smart to do this with Messi, it seems to be having the opposite effect. Like fans are holding up signs at the stadium saying, I want my money back because Messi's not playing.
Well, you could put that on Inter Miami too, stringing along everybody saying day to day, when they knew damn well he wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
or seemingly knew
And
damn
next
well
year-
he wasn't going to play.
We've all seen next year's ticket prices for Miami skyrocket for even, relative nosebleed seats. So
He's not playing next year.
something,
He's not.
all this is totally screwed.
Like you knew he had this like partial tear or whatever. And he plays the other night against, who was it? Like Union or something? Cincinnati. And like, you play in the last game before you're officially knocked out of it just doesn't make any sense. It never made any sense. Anyways, decision day.
Part of me wants him to get that MVP award to just put a spotlight on how stupid all of this is. And because there's a section of MLS that needs to have a light cut on it and burned away.
Well, not only that, just in case you didn't know, gentlemen, I have a little homework assignment for you.
Okay.
By the next pod, please find out what the MVP criteria for the MLS is.
He's saying this because there's going to be some kind of Indiana Jones hunt to actually find what the rules are.
I'm saying
if
that
your
because
team has
I
had
already know the
20%
answer.
TAM, GAM, or JAM, you are not eligible for MVP unless on Tuesday they scored.
Dear God.
Do you already have the answer?
Players must have appeared in at least one match during the 2023 MLS season.
You're welcome.
That's the criteria.
Has nothing to do with assists, goals.
Has that always been the criteria, or has that
know.
changed recently?
It's voted on by media members, clubs, and players. For a 36 games, this was going to be I can't talk. A 35 game season. The requirement for most valuable player of the league, the criteria, must have appeared, not even started, appeared in at least one match during the 2023 MLS season. I'm sorry, MLS regular season.
You're welcome.
So since that cup wasn't part of that, you're just talking about a couple of matches.
Yeah, but he's all right.
He barely makes the requirement.
Here's the official stats. Was nominated. He's only played 247 minutes and recorded 1 goal and 2 assists in league play.
He's gonna win. What's the title? What's the title?
Messi League Soccer.
No. What is the award?
Most valuable player.
Landon Donovan something award?
No, most valuable player.
Yeah.
And they are soaking every ounce of value they
way.
can out of it.
Well, they are paying him the most of any player.
Orlando City's paying for him. Philadelphia Union's paying for him.
Everybody's
Columbus Crew.
paying.
I know.
Adidas is paying for him.
Apple's paying for him.
Yeah.
Bunch of crap.
Before Wayne Rooney was allowed to leave United, he had to throw $20 in the jar through the world.
Do a pull. They call him around. I get church pass around the basket. All right. Decision day.
Please,
help the Messi fund.
Instead of please help the poor, it's please help us pay for Messi.
Please, sir. All right, look, let's get off of that because the Inter Miami are not in decision day and will not play a factor in decision day. They might. Let's see, who the heck do they play?
Does it matter?
No, who the heck cares? They play Charlotte.
Charlotte
right now can get in. So, all right, we went over the E standings. I won't go over the full standings. What I'll just kind of go through is the teams that are in contention right now. Right now, in 8th and 9th, you have 41 points, CF Montreal, and 40 points, DC United. Now, as
don't you let Ron with his little bladder get up to pee, and we're not going to comment on the fact he can't even make it for the last 2.5 minutes of this pod.
I know
Ridiculous.
we're literally running through decision day, and he can't. You know what, folks? We're not going to put you through like 2 minutes of Bull Lake and I's BS, so we'll just continue on. How about that?
We'll go ahead. We'll go ahead.
CF Montreal and DC United 8th and 9th. Yes, Wayne Rooney. They mutually parted ways. A lot of reports he's going back over to England and might coach Birmingham City, but nonetheless leaves. Yes, they're in a playoff spot, but they've also played a game more than everybody, and so in some cases 2 games more than a lot of folks. So they could still make that play-in game that would get them into the playoffs as they take on. Oh no, I'm sorry. They are completely done for the season. So right now they're just going to hope on. No, that can't be right. Give me a second here.
Are they out?
No, I just thought every team played on decision day, but I guess not. So yeah, they are completely done for the season. On 34 games. So it's going to be up to other teams. Other teams around that. New York, Chicago, 10th and 11th, both on 40 games. Charlotte on 39 points in 12th. NYCFC on 38 points in 13th. All of those teams are still in contention mathematically. Games for decision day for the East this coming Saturday, 6 p.m. on the East Coast, 9 p.m. on the West Coast, which we'll get to here in a second. Those first games to keep an eye out for. Nashville and the Red Bulls. Nashville might secure playoffs with a win over New England this Saturday. But these games will be played on Saturday, October 21st. Because there's a bit of an international break, MLS is just making up a few games here and there. But again, Nashville and New York on the 21st could be quite interesting to see how the Red Bulls might get in. Nashville should be secured, but we'll see. Another interesting game there, New York City and Chicago Fire. Right now, 10th and 11th. I'm sorry, 11th and 13th in the table, both in contention still. So those are two games from the East to keep an eye on in 2 weeks' time on Saturday, October 21st. Moving over to the West. Again, we talked about St. Louis, LAFC, Sounders, all of that. Teams that are in contention for getting into the playoffs. Right now, in 7th, 8th, and 9th, you have Portland Timbers, San Jose Earthquakes, FC Dallas. On 43 points for both Portland Timbers and San Jose, and 42 points for FC Dallas. Other teams in that mix, Sporting KC, Minnesota United, both in 10th and 11th. And I believe that extends all the way down to Austin FC for 38 points, which are all in contention. So, games to keep an eye out on the West, not 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that could have big playoff implications will be Portland Timbers, Houston Dynamo. Houston in 4th, already secured a spot. Portland, can they make another one? Not the best of seasons for them, but a win here will certainly secure that. San Jose and Austin. San Jose in 8th with 43 points. Austin down there in 38 points. Now, it's really going to depend for Austin if FC Dallas... Actually, no, I believe Austin, now that I'm looking at the math, FC Dallas are officially out of it, I believe. Yep, because they only have one more game max, 41 points, and right now it's 42 points. So, Austin out of it. But Austin could play a part in San Jose, who's on that 43 points in that A spot in that playoff game. Other than that, not a whole lot there. LA Galaxy's already out of it. Dallas, could Galaxy play kind of spoil what FC Dallas is, and if FC Dallas. Now, FC Dallas is playing another match because they will be playing on that Saturday, October 14th against Colorado Rapids, who are last in the West. They get a win there, they'll put themselves in a much better spot going into that last day. So decision day again for the MLS, October 21st, so 2 Saturdays from now. All the East Coast, all the Eastern Conference games will be 6 p.m. on the East Coast. All the Western Conference games will be 9 p.m. on the West Coast. And finally, the NWSL decision day is right around the corner, and in fact, it is this Sunday. This Sunday, October 15th, we have decision day. All teams will play at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's how the table in the NWSL shapes up. Portland Timbers, San Diego Wave, both in. They have secured their spots. They are 1 and 2 in the table, 35 and 34 points respectively. 3rd through 6, you have North Carolina Courage, New Jersey, New York Gotham FC, Washington Spirit, OL Reign. Courage, Gotham, and Washington all on 30 points with OL Reign in 29th. Orlando Pride, 28 points in 7th, just outside of playoff places. Angel City FC, 28 points, just outside of playoff spaces. And Racing Louisville, 27, just outside of playoff places. Houston Dash, just outside, 2 and 10, 26. So, decision day in the MLS will be quite interesting. The Pride kind of blew it this past week on Friday. Could have put themselves in much better spots, but now they're going to have to win and then hopefully rely on some other teams. OL Reign playing the Red Stars. Red Stars are out of it, last in the league. Red Stars not terrible though. We'll see what they can do against OL Reign, which could be Megan Rapinoe's last game in the NWSL if things don't go their way. They drew with Washington in a record attendance on Friday night this past week, 0-0. What was their last home regular season game? You have Angel City and the Thorns playing. Thorns already secured their spot. Angel City still in the mix right there. So, you know, Angel City playing in LA is going to be a good game. Orlando Pride, Houston Dash, big game. Houston can still get in. Orlando can still get in. Both mathematically able to get in should other results go their way. Spirit.
Oh, hold on. The Houston Dash can still get in?
I believe so.
I don't
Goal
think
difference?
they can. Even if they win,
Yeah.
that means the OL Reign have to lose.
Right. And Dash,
Orlando has to lose. Angel City has to lose.
Correct. So
It's
still
not
mathematically.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's a long shot,
Yeah.
but they're still
Probably
mathematically in it. Correct.
I got you.
Yeah. Washington Spirit take on the Courage. Interesting. 3rd versus 5th. Spirit need to win there. North Carolina need to win there. They're only on 30 points. Right now, that bottom is 29 points for what the Dash would need to get, sitting on 26 points. So that's why they mathematically could get in. So, again, your decision day games in the NWSL this Saturday at 5 o'clock. Angel City takes on Portland Thorns in LA. Red Stars take on OL Reign in Chicago. Gotham take on Kansas City in New York or New Jersey, wherever the heck they play. Orlando Pride versus Houston Dash here in Orlando. Be in attendance for that one. San Diego Wave in San Diego playing against Racing Louisville. Washington Spirit in Washington against North Carolina Courage. Both decision days coming down to the wire in several different aspects, certainly in the West for the MLS, and pretty much 5 or 6 clubs there in the NWSL fighting out for those last few playoff places.
You know when the final is for the NWSL? November 11th at 8 p.m., which will be a lot of fun. You know when the final is for the MLS?
January 2026.
When's that?
No, December 9th.
Yeah.
Well, it's good we don't do the international schedule, so you avoid playing important games in the winter.
Hey, you know, it's good when you play a 3-game series in soccer.
Oh, well, don't worry. We're going to get to the playoffs.
Jesus,
We're going to get to the playoffs because
it's soccer, not baseball. You're playing a 3-game series. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple. God.
Anyways, that's your La Liga roundup.
Hey, they got to. I was in the middle of something.
I know. I said the word. It's an automatic play.
All right, relax.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I don't even remember what I was going to say now, you jerk. Oh, I was going to say that they need to put more games in there because they got to help pay for Messi somehow.
Yeah, it's all because of Apple. Absolutely.
Gross. Well, on that note, I think that brings us to the end. So again, our beers of the pod were from 5 Churches Brewing here in Connecticut. Cool Side of the Pillow in honor of Stuart Scott. Or sorry, it's called Cool Side of the Pilsner in honor of Stuart Scott.
Wisconsin's own New Glarus Brewing Company. We had the Spotted Cow Farmhouse Ale, which was actually a farmhouse ale. And
That's really cool you got that one.
It was damn good.
Damn good.
And no matter how good it's been said, it still scared me to get a farmhouse ale right now.
I know, right?
Although I did get one of those. It's in the Sixer over there. All right, Ferris, what's our Zlatan quote?
This one's brutal, Jets. A reporter asks, you've got some scars on your face, Zlatan. What has happened? Zlatan's response. Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask your wife about that.
Well done. Well
done. Jeez, that guy.
Ruthless.
I mean, look, in Zlatan's defense, not that he needs me to come to his defense, but what a BS question.
Yeah, it's pretty rude.
Yeah, well, I'll give you another one that I found this week, I think shared by ESPN FC. When Zlatan on playing under Pep at FC Barcelona. When I met Pep Guardiola, he told me, remember the players here don't come with Ferraris. What did I do? Of course. I brought my Ferrari.
Give me my pen back.
Is that a repeat?
Yes.
Is it a repeat? It might be.
Yeah,
but it's such a great quote.
You didn't have the full one though. So there you go. All right, gents. I had a story sent my way to take her left turn to cowboy days. Said two cowboys were lost in the desert. One cowboy saw a tree draped in bacon. A bacon tree, he said, we're saved. So the cowboy runs up to the trees, but as he approaches, is immediately shot up with bullets. Because it weren't a bacon tree, 'twas a ham bush.
Awesome. That was a long way to go for it.
That was
but that was pretty good.
Well, we can thank Tony Sounds Good for that one. He sent that to me.
Awesome.
It was the one I was going to do last week before I got cut off because of the internet connection. So thank you, Tony.
Well done. Thanks, Tony.
Long wind up.
Yeah, well, I might have embellished a little bit.
There you go.
It needs some character.
There you go.
All right. Hey, give us a listen. I didn't say it last pod. Brian Turner, thanks for catching us a couple of episodes ago. We got a technical problem fixed because you said something. Ron, did you get stuff out to him yet?
It is postmarked mañana.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks again, Brian, for giving us a heads up so we could fix the pod real quick. And if you like the show, drop us a review and give us a screen grab, send it to us. We'll get you a koozie or something. Just like we're getting some fun stuff in the mail for Mr. Turner.
Or you can just report our screw ups.
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently that also works.
Clearly we reward that.
Yes.
That does work. If anyone listened to a pod and go, why is it only Blake talking with long segments of silence? That's Brian caught that for us. But yeah, leave a review or tell your friends and family. We're still trying to get grandma to listen. So let's where am I here? Is that everything? Oh, follow us on the Twitters, or X, whatever. Untapped. I've been throwing up a bunch of the local Connecticut beers lately, and yeah, you do you. Have a good day. That's what I say to you, whoever's listening to this right now. All right, gents, here we go. Love the beer, cherish the game, the beautiful game.
I can't believe Ferris turned down my bet.